Hey traders, Luke Angio here from Breakout Trading. We have, looks like, just sold the fifth one. We have 4 tickets left for the lifetime package. That comes with the text alerts, the webinato, chat room, private groups, because you'll be considered what's called an affiliated shareholder, and there'll be private groups for that. So right now we're only selling 7 tickets. Altogether, I think we'll sell 21 over the course of the next 6 months or 3 months. So it'll be a tops 21 group of people. You get your mentorship, you get all that. We'll call you, we'll figure out the best strategy for you depending on your lifestyle. If you have kids, not every strategy is good for every person. Okay. If you have kids, I don't suggest you betting on small stocks that are $1 or $2 that could shoot down to 50 cents in a minute. No, if you have kids, you have less risk that you could take. But if you have more risk potential, then we'll take it. So everybody has to be gauged to see what their best strategy is. So I want to go over something. This week, I had my first losing week in my personal account since October 29th through November 2nd. That week, I had a bad losing week. But anyway, that was the week of Halloween. Halloween, I seem to have bad luck. It's really weird. Not in the market, just like in general. So anyway, why? Why did I have a losing week this week? Well, it really all boils down to the personals, okay? And what do I mean by the personals? There's 4 aspects of your life that are important. You have your personal, you have your relational, you have your professional, and you have your what's the last one? Spiritual, of course. Now, my personals were all off and my spirituals were all off and my relationals were all off this week. Okay, that's where it comes to kind of this book. That's why I showed it in the picture. So you can use this information for yourself because I'm sure we can all relate. In terms of professional, because my personal, relational, and spiritual were down, my professional, which I trade for a living, took a hit. And so they all have to be equally balanced. There has to be an equal balance. Let's talk personal real quick. The first aspect of personal, right? The personal part of your life, you, the person. You have everything from your health. For me, last week, my health was terrible. Why? Because I was sleeping 3 hours, working on everything, getting everything set up, the webinato chat room, the website, just no sleep, nonstop, constantly going. Wasn't even eating. I didn't even have the urge to eat. I was just all off altogether. Now, so in terms of health, last week I was like deteriorating. Education. I always like to read every day. I try to read something. I have tons of stock books. I've read this one like 8 times, so I don't read that. But I'm doing a ton of reading in the series. Wrong one. 66 book right now. I took the series 7. I have to take the series 6, and then I'm licensed in the state of New York as a registered representative by FIRNA, basically a stockbroker. Anyway, but yeah, I haven't been working on that. I've been neglecting that. So my health, my education, finances took a hit, obviously, because everything that I get other than what I make in the market, that's why we use the donation button. Anything that's used or donated goes directly towards the website. That money is not, I'm not, going out and buying Lamborghinis with $20, entry fees. It's used to help fund the program, which is for the people. And it's, eventually going to be free. But, okay. So I suffered from that. And then the 5th part of personal, I have this all written down here. Fun. I'm actually prepared for once. A personal. And so the first one under personal is actually self-esteem. I don't know if I had any issues with self-esteem or really this week, but self-esteem sticks up on you. And this is a big problem for traders. And I've noticed it in the following way. I noticed that sometimes traders, typically when a trader gets into a trade, a new trader, and they lose, it goes down, And, the first thing is, well, it's only down a little bit. Maybe it'll go back up. Maybe it'll pop up, right? And then it goes down even more. And then now they're hoping, well, now I really hope it goes back up. And then it goes down even more. And they're saying, well, it has to go back up. I lost half my money already. And then there's a point beyond that. And this is where self-esteem comes into play. There's the point where self-esteem comes into play is where you just did a losing trade and you feel so poorly about yourself because you say, oh man, I'm a failure. I can't do trading. I can't do this. And you just let it run. It's just like slowly giving up and dying. And that's actually a factor of self-esteem and how you feel about yourself. If you feel good about yourself and you want to work on a 0-to-1 stop loss ratio as opposed to a 3-to-1 stop loss ratio. 0 is I'm playing the breakout and it's got to break out, go up. It doesn't go down. If we pick certain breakout and certain pivot points, when the stock goes up, it doesn't do that retest and go back down. That's it. It goes up, and I don't have to worry about what do I do. I don't have to worry about risk management. Now you're only worried about, okay, let me take my profit in the right way. Let me get out here. Let me take a little here. Let me take a little here. Because once you're in, even if you're still new and subjected to the PDT rule, you can buy in a stock once and exit on multiple exits. Okay, so and it only counts as one trade. So you could buy 100 shares of a stock, sell each share individually, and it's one trade. It's one round trip. As long as you don't buy again. If you buy more, they'll count it as 2 round trips. But anyway, okay, so yeah, that for me, there was really not a self-esteem. It wasn't a self-esteem issue. It was a time management issue. Which, by the way, if you look at, I once heard a saying that. Success is being able to manage your time properly. I was doing a lot. And there's also the saying, just because you're doing more doesn't mean you're getting more done. And I also heard this in terms of traders. I remember when I first started trading, I would wake up at 4 a.m. at the crack of dawn just to catch the beginning of the pre-market, getting ready to get ready for the day. And I was doing more and I was getting nothing done. There was no reason for that. But anyway, so we got that done. So I think sleep is very important as well. The 4 hours of sleep doesn't work for me. Me personally, I have to get 8 hours, and I've looked into it. I did a little study. Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, right? I get Jimmy Buffett and Warren Buffett confused sometimes. Jimmy Buffett, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Cuban, Bezos. These are guys that all sleep 8 hours at night, 7 to 8 hours a night, nonstop. Okay, very successful men, and they act a certain way. The way they act is professional and all that. Now let's go look at Elon Musk. Works 18, 19, 20 hours a day, gets no sleep, does stupid things like makes irrational texts, he acts irrational on news. That's, I think, because he's lacking sleep, and he is working hard, but don't confuse action with improvement. You know what I'm saying? Just because you're doing something doesn't mean you're actually doing something. But in terms of him, Elon Musk, you can see the thing. And now Friday, you can see, because of my lack of sleep for the entire week, on Friday, if you watch the tapes, I'm actually a little. You can tell I'm a little irrational. But anyway, I think I cursed a few times, and that's all part of just not eating, not being healthy, and not living and taking care of myself, in a terms of health, education, and self-esteem. Okay, self-esteem is important too. If you don't look good, if you don't feel good, you won't trade good. It's true. You have to feel good about yourself. You have to be confident in anything you do in order to succeed. If you're not confident, you won't succeed. Let's move on. Relational. I'm just going to blow past that one. This week I had a date on the 11th. My birthday was the 10th. I met a girl on Facebook. Her birthday was the 12th. So let's go on a date on the 11th. That date did not end up happening because I was too busy working, and I kind of ghosted her. I guess that's the term. I feel very bad about that. That could be another thing, that made me feel bad about myself. Boom, back to self-esteem because I hurt someone else. But anyway, let's move on. And from that topic, uh, professional. This is for you guys, okay? So professional, what do you do for a living? You want to trade full time? Do you want to just make a little money on the side? Figure out what you want to do, set up a plan, and set up a strategy. That's what we have. We have the 4 tickets left. That's it. Still 4 tickets. If you want to get in and you want to get the mentorship, you'll speak to myself, or you'll speak to Antonio, or you might even speak to Marvin, who's my mentor, depending on how complicated your situation is. But the bottom line is, yes. So we have to figure out what you want to do, what your goal is. And this also goes back to self-esteem. How much do you want to make? How much are you worth? Because typically what you want to make, I remember when I was working at a stock brokerage as a dialer. I wasn't a stock broker, I was just a dialer, and you made like crap money on commissions. And the guy, he asked me, he's like, well, what do you want to make? I was like, well, I really want to trade, but I'm just here because I'm excited to be here. I was trying to get a sponsorship because to take your Series 7, you have to be sponsored. Now there's other ways to do it. There's companies, you give them like $1,000, they'll sponsor you whether you work for them or not. If you work for them, they'll give you $1,000 back. But and that's basically what I did. But anyway, so bottom line is, how much do you want to make? Most people, when they determine how much they want to make, they will make that much, especially traders and salespeople. If they say, I want to make $100,000 this year, they'll likely make $100,000 this year because they'll make sure they do what they need to do to get that $100,000. So what do you want to make, especially in terms of trading? Now, in terms of trading, having a goal is very important as well. And I can share with my clients, I have a certain, it's an Excel sheet, and it takes into account compound interest, and it determines how much compound interest you need to make or what you need to make a week in order to make your goal. So if you're starting with $2,000 or $10,000 or $50,000, it doesn't matter. If you're starting with $2,000 and you want to make $100,000 this year, it shows you, okay, you need to make 10% a week. Also, in terms of profession, it's always good, even as a trader, to have a supplemental income. I have a video on arbitrage, how to take advantage of price gaps on the internet with a company called PriceYac. That's PRICEYAC.com. Great company. There are other companies that do this arbitrage business stuff where you buy on Amazon, you sell on eBay at a huge margin or a small margin, but obviously you try to do it with a huge margin, and you put everything on auto send. I have a video on that down if you scroll down into on my Facebook page, though, not on YouTube. Anyway, moving on to the last one. Spiritual. Very important, guys. To me, it's very important. Now, spiritual doesn't necessarily mean you need to believe in a God. Whatever. It doesn't matter that. You could meditate. You could do yoga. You can work out. But something that gets you out of this funk that it's just me and you living in your world. Forget that. We're all connected. There is a creative intelligence. Okay, something made this. Even if we came from the Big Bang, something created the stuff, the antimatter and the matter that crashed into each other to make the Big Bang. So it doesn't matter. So there's some creative intelligence. It's just there's too much going on. Unless we're living in a simulation, there still has to be something that created that. So spirituality doesn't necessarily mean you have to believe in God, Jesus, Allah, Buddha. Don't matter. But it's good to have a sort of belief and something to fall back on over yourself. And for me, it's God, and whatever that is for you, it doesn't matter. And how does that relate to your trading? How does all this relate to your trading? It entirely relates to your trading because you are the person, you're the trigger, you're the computer, you're the one doing the trades. If you're not right, you're going to be screwed up. Now, the book I showed, one of them, how to trade in, I show this one all the time, how to trade in stock. This is for any beginner or anybody joining my groups. Please order this book on Amazon or contact me. And I mean, please get that book. I would even buy it for you. It's so valuable. Now, let's see. There was one thing in here that I really want you to see, and I happened to just blow past it. And the first one that I read, and I can remember from our biggest success are born out of discomfort, uncertainty, and risk. Our biggest successes are born out of discomfort, uncertainty, and risk. But that's not the one. The one I wanted you to see, and I think the good thing about YouTube videos is that I could cut it out, like all this. This is a great book, by the way, too, if you want to get it on YouTube. It's boom, I think that was it. No. Okay, here it is. Is it backwards? Mirrored? Okay. For the most part, you're basically on autopilot, mindlessly gauging your way through life's predictable muddy field. So what that's saying is you're basically on autopilot all the time, all the time. Now you have to be able to pull yourself out and be the thinker. Look at yourself. I sometimes refer to it as my drill sergeant. Look at yourself from a different perspective. Okay, because sometimes I'll be ready to enter into a trade, and I remember I have the drill sergeant in the back of my head. I've created, it's almost a persona, somebody that says to me, it's almost my mentor's voice all the time. Like, why would you take that trade? You know it's just going to go down. Or why would you take that trade? It's just too risky. Wait for the break first. So things like that pull me out of this autopilot. You have to break out of you and the screen because you're in hypnotist. That is like the definition of hypnotism, is when you're watching the screen and you're watching the stocks and you're reacting. You're acting in hypnotism, and that's not good because hypnotism is not just like a guy with a pocket watch hypnotizing you. It's being totally into something. And it's consider watching a movie. Like when you watch a movie, what happens? You get to a sad scene and you cry because that becomes your reality for a minute. So you get hypnotized by the market, and it can take you in, and it will rob you. Okay, it is a what do they call those? A gypsy on the street in Europe luring you into an alley. You have to have your daddy, saying, no, 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 don't go with the gypsy, son, or whatever it is. But you have to always be watching yourself from an outside view. You have to watch yourself from an outside view while you're trading because you are on autopilot and you're being hypnotized. Once you can get that down and be your own drill sergeant and ask yourself questions like, did I sleep enough? How am I doing? How's my self-esteem? Am I feeling good? Am I just trading out of a addiction because I feel like I need to trade every day? Or is there actual trades that look profitable for me? All right. So that was that. We're going to do some more lessons. I'm going to do a beginner's lesson on Monday. So if you want to sign up this President's Day weekend, now's the perfect time because I'm setting up things, and I will add, I guess, all the prices and stuff at the bottom of the video. But I'll also put some of the links and things and books and stuff that I mentioned in the link in the description area as well. Wonder if there's anything else I want to discuss. Well, I went on 17 minutes and 50 seconds. I wanted to make this 10 minutes. I tried my best. But anyway, guys, you have the best holiday weekend. Breakout Traders out.